big banks, institutions, Wall Street. She's not afraid of anybody.
She's the real deal.
I'm Elizabeth Warren, and I approve this message.
New ad for Elizabeth Warren calling the Massachusetts Democrat the real deal. It comes as Warren, who was challenging Republican Scott Brown for his U.S. Senate seat. This is the seat Brown won when after Ted Kennedy vacated it. She's hoping, Warren is, that the controversy over whether she dishonestly claimed American Indian heritage will go away. The Harvard law professor has been under fire from her critics who say she lied about her alleged Native American roots to her prospects at certain colleges where she worked. Now the Boston Globe has had to issue a retraction saying, contrary to earlier claims, it could not find any proof that Warren is, in fact, 132nd Cherokee. Larry Sabato is the director of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. Larry, so it was originally that she was listed as a minority law professor. That's what came out. She listed herself as a minority law professor, okay? And at Harvard, they touted her as a minority law professor. At the University of Pennsylvania, it came out. They also listed her in their minority equity report, and so on. She comes out and says, I just listed myself because I wanted to meet other people like me. It's all based on a claim that she may have a great-great-great-grandmother who was Cherokee. Now they're coming out and saying, no, there's absolutely zero proof of that claim either. So now we were looking at 132nd. Now it appears we may be looking at absolutely no proof of anything. Where does that leave her and this race?
It leaves her with a mess on her hands and a continuing controversy, Megan, because as we know from 1,000 controversies and 1,000 campaigns, until you answer all the questions, they just linger. And they keep being brought up. If they're not brought up by the press, they're brought up in TV ads from the opponent. So obviously this is not something that will go away. I expect to see at least one TV ad, maybe more, in the fall about it.
No one cares whether she is or is not, part Cherokee. What people care about is whether she lied. And lied on an issue that's important to a lot of Americans. I mean, did she take advantage of any sort of affirmative action program? The universities claim she did not. She claims she did not, I should say. We haven't seen actual proof at a couple of them that she did not. But did she somehow use to her advantage a claim of minority status when she shouldn't have and shouldn't have been allowed to? And was it a lie to come out and say that she was a minority when in fact she is not? Do the voters care about that?
Well, I don't know whether the voters care. Some of them do, some of them don't. But clearly you shouldn't claim minority status unless you have minority status. And look, let's remember the law schools listed her proudly as having this minority status, because you have to remember back in the 90s, many of these prestigious law schools like Harvard and others were being criticized for a lack of diversity on the law school faculty. So this was actually a big deal, or at least a medium-term deal, and they pointed it out to people. So, it's not insignificant. Is it the most important thing in the election campaign? Of course not.
Right. Now it's come out that in addition to being listed at Harvard and the University of Pennsylvania as a minority, a 1997 Fordham Law Review article described her as, quote, Harvard Law School's first woman of color. First woman of color. This is all based on her claims that she's a Native American, that she's got Native American heritage or a lineage. Scott Brown's campaign has come out and called this a, quote, disturbing development. And I think they feel that this has not been covered to adequate degree by the media. Is she getting any sort of a pass, or is the media actually following this, Larry?
Well, I think the Boston Herald has been tough in covering this. They've covered it thoroughly. The Boston Globe, I gather, has not covered it as thoroughly. It's pretty much what you'd expect. That often happens.
That's a left-leaning paper, Boston Globe.
In media markets like that. But look, it will get covered because you can buy the time on television to cover it. That's what paid advertising is for. And look, if you're going to claim minority status, you'd better be sure that you really have minority status. Because, as I say, and I'm an academic, it is a significant thing. It is something that universities focus on. And so as a candidate, supposedly checking your own background first, you should be certain of what you say about yourself.
Right. And especially when it comes to something like this, something where, minority status is something that's debated a lot, whether it should be used for advancement at the college level. And she's been touted as a minority by multiple institutions now, Larry. Now it comes out that, and this is it's the New England Historical Genealogical Society, which originally suggested, okay, maybe she's got some heritage in her. Now they come out, and I want to show our viewers the quote. It reads as follows: "We have no proof that Elizabeth Warren's great-great-great-grandmother, O.C. Sarah Smith, either is or is not of Cherokee descent." So there is no proof. What we are left with now is Elizabeth Warren's own claims, which she has yet to provide any proof of. Does it go away? Do we get to the point of saturation where it's like, forget it, either you believe her or you don't believe her, or you think it matters or you don't think it matters, and you vote accordingly? Because I remember what happened with Dick Blumenthal in Connecticut when it came out that he lied or misspoke, however you want to view it, about his alleged service in Vietnam. He had never been to Vietnam in the Connecticut race, and he won, Larry.
Sure, and look, Elizabeth Warren has a tremendous advantage. She has Barack Obama at the top of the ticket. Even though Mitt Romney was governor of Massachusetts, I would expect Obama to come reasonably close to his 62% that he got in 2008. So, in other words, Scott Brown needs hundreds of thousands of Obama votes to win. Now, having said that, Scott Brown is obviously going to continue to use this. It may go away for a while, but as I've mentioned, that's what paid advertising is for. You bring it up again in the fall when people are reconsidering their choice, or the undecided voters, assuming there are any, are making that final decision.
Yeah, well, before we go, I just want to show the viewers the polls in Massachusetts right now. These two are neck and neck and have been for some time. Doesn't look like this controversy's causing a huge difference in the race. We shall see whether it does come November. Larry Sabato, thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Megan.